I made the transition out of the military, but I didn't want to stop pushing my limits or protecting the nation. So I joined the CIA. Now I conduct strategic operations and intelligence activities globally. It's a career that draws on my significant military and leadership experience. Keep serving our nation's interests. Join the CIA's Directorate of Operations. Visit cia.gov/careers to learn more and apply.
When you manage procurement for multiple facilities, every order matters. But when it's for a hospital system, they matter even more. Grainger gets it and knows there's no time for managing multiple suppliers and no room for shipping delays. That's why Grainger offers millions of products in fast, dependable delivery, so you can keep your facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am your boy 12 Kyle. Man, check this out. I got a story to tell. Now, if you've heard or seen the term Lake Lanier, you may be up on what I'm about to tell you, or maybe you never heard of this place. But it is a place, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I know about the place. And I'm also going to tell you some kind of scary things about this place. And I'll also share with you my 2 visits to Lake Lanier and why there won't be a third. I came to this idea because of a piece that I saw in the news just a couple of days ago, and I'll talk about that a little later. But Lake Lanier is a real lake. It's a lake that is located roughly about a 40-minute drive from my house. It's north of the city, Metro Atlanta. But it is a real lake. One of the things that I used to tell my friends, particularly when I moved here in the summer of 97, it would be dope if Atlanta had a beach, because Atlanta had everything else. I moved here July 24th, 1997, right? And Atlanta had everything. The only thing it didn't have was a beach. And I always said, like, it was almost criminal, the fact that they didn't have a beach and that there weren't any beaches nowhere near. And I even remember back then someone telling me, like, hey, well, there's a lake. There's a couple of lakes not far away from here. I'm like, yeah, okay, a lake is cool, but it's not a beach. Little did I know that one of the lakes that they were speaking of was the infamous Lake Lanier. Now, Lake Lanier is a lake that was actually built. If you follow history or you know history, Lake Lanier was, there was a dam that was created. I think it's the Beaufort Dam in the late 50s. And I didn't learn any of this stuff until like a couple of years ago. But the Beaufort Dam was created. And then what happened was Lake Lanier, which was a man-made lake, they flooded this town or what have you. Now, in the history of the story being told about Lake Lanier, the thing that they don't tell you is that the town that was flooded out and basically washed away was a black town. It was a black city where all of the black people lived, where there were black businesses. And the Army Corps of Engineers decided, along with the state of Georgia, decided that this town no longer needed to be there. And so they basically built a man-made lake over this particular town. Now, full disclosure, Lake Lanier is a beautiful lake. I think they've got like over 150, what they call like little small pop-up islands. Not a big island, but an island big enough for where you can kind of, chill or whatever like that. But the small little islands, and the water is very blue. It is a very picturesque place to be. That being said, Lake Lanier may be one of the most dangerous places on earth. I would probably feel safer walking through the Cabrini Green projects in Chicago. I'd probably feel safer walking through the jungle in LA. I'd probably feel a little bit more safer walking through Queensbridge in Queens, New York. I'd probably feel safer walking through the most ghettoest of hoods in Atlanta before I ever get on a boat again on Lake Lanier. Lake Lanier is a scary place, but as far as the history goes, it's one of the reasons why it's scary, and one of the reasons why it's infamous is because since its inception, over 500 people have died at that lake. And over the last 30 years, 200 plus people have died at that lake. And if you're ever on social media, particularly Twitter, and you see Lake Lanier trending, that means they got one. That means the lake took another body, took another soul. And it's almost kind of comical around here, but obviously the loss of life isn't funny, but it makes you wonder why people keep going to this lake every single day. It makes absolutely no sense when you consider the history. Now, if it were a safe lake or a safe place to go, then yeah, they have all of the amenities that you would want. Very low, pricing for parking. They have amusement parks. They've got a Margaritaville pavilion area set up, which was established, I think, in 2018. And I'll get on that in just a second. But they have a lot of stuff, a lot of amenities that you would want in a lake. And again, a very picturesque blue lake. You can rent paddle boats, you can rent boats, you can rent just about anything, jet skis, and get on the lake and have a good time. Except for the fact that a lot of people go to that lake and die. I mean, again, you're probably safer if you're a Crip by yourself walking through a blood neighborhood. You're probably more safer doing that than you are getting on Lake Lanier, honestly. I mentioned Margaritaville. Margaritaville was a man-made area that they made, and there's a man-made beach. Well, at the time of this recording, just a year ago, a little more than a year ago, Lake Lanier announced that they would not allow people to be at Margaritaville and swim in the lake. You heard it. They didn't want people to swim in the lake for quote unquote safety reasons. In fact, I'm going to read to you a statement that they put out, that the park put out. And I'm going to read it in its entirety. And this is from May of 2023. After consideration, we have decided to no longer offer swimming in the lake area. While we understand that this may be disappointing for some, we believe is the right decision to maintain a safe environment for all of our guests, and they can enjoy, and we will put an added focus on other parts of the park to better offer a overall experience for our water park and our guests. Translation, we don't want y'all dying out here. They didn't say it, but that's what happened. Now, I couldn't find any information to say if that part of the park was actually back open again, or if they were allowing patrons to actually swim in the lake again. But think about it. For an entire summer, a man-made section where they had a man-made beach, man-made pools and everything, you could be on the beach, but you could not swim in the water. Like, there literally was a fence that stretched right along the shore of this man-made beach. A fence, a picket fence. And as the water washed up, the water could go through the fence and come back. If you think I'm lying, go to your Google machine and check it out. It is the funniest thing that you would ever want to see. Now, again, I'm a guy who I like to have a good time. I like to be careful. I like to be safe. Lake Lanier ain't safe. It's not safe. Now here's the scoop. I can't even really say what I'm about to say and say rumor has it, because it's not a rumor. It is believed by a lot of people who live in the state and a lot of people who visited here and a lot of people who visited Lake Lanier and people who are up on the history that really and truly believe that Lake Lanier is haunted. It is haunted by some of the Black people who were in that town that got flooded out. Now, if you're a conspiracy theorist, maybe you don't believe that. I'm not here to convince you otherwise. All I know is that there's a theme, and the theme seems to be that a lot of people are dying at Lake Lanier every single day. Well, I can't say every day, but let's just say every summer. And again, when you log on to social media, if you're on Twitter and you see Lake Lanier trending, that means they got another one. So is the lake haunted? It really depends on who you ask. I think based on the information that I've been given and the things that I've seen, I think that's very plausible. And I'm not someone who believes in a lot of conspiracy theories. I'm not really on that time of thinking about things being haunted. But I will say, it's very plausible. I really haven't seen nor heard anything of the contrary that would lead me to believe that it's not. So if you say, oh, 12 Kyle, you're bugging. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But I tell you what, you won't have to worry about me testing those lake waters again. And I mentioned earlier how I came to this idea of this episode. Well, I came to this idea because I actually have to give a shout out to 20-year-old Zach Rutledge. Who is Zach Rutledge? Zach Rutledge was recently in the news and is the sole reason for this podcast episode. Because earlier this month, at the time of this recording, Zach Rutledge went to Lake Lanier and went swimming. And he came up missing. But relax, folks. He went swimming at night and they found him the next morning alive. He had jumped off a boat and he ended up swimming to the shore. He jumped off the boat to swim, and I guess he got misplaced from the boat or whatever like that. And they found him alive. He swam to, one of the shores, and the people found him and he was fine. So shout out to Zach Rutledge because he survived. He's a survivor. And what was interesting was I saw Lake Lanier trending on Twitter and I clicked on it and I was like, oh man, they got another one. And before I could get that out of my mouth, they showed a picture of Zach Rutledge, and Zach Rutledge is okay. He made it. So shout out to him. Thank you for inspiring this episode because it is very much believed that, Zach was taken and then the lake gave him back. But a lot of times the lake don't give people back. But in all seriousness, that really doesn't happen a lot. Again, most summers, there are a lot of people who pass away in that lake. And even at the time of this recording, there's been quite a few people who have died this year alone in that lake. And yet every single day of the summer, especially once it gets warm. Now, let me just kind of paint the picture for you. Lake Lanier is packed every day, even in the wintertime. But it is really packed in the summertime. And I had a chance to visit Lake Lanier, and here's my story. I've actually been to Lake Lanier twice, right? I can promise you there will not be a third time. My first trip to Lake Lanier, it wasn't something where I actually planned to go, but sometimes you get coerced into going and doing things. What had happened was my wife, Sharice, one of her girlfriends, one of her line sisters, well, she's not line sister. I don't think, but anyway, one of her sorority sisters. She was celebrating her 40th birthday. This was in 2012. And she told me that, hey, my line sister's having my sorority sister's having a 40th birthday party, and it's going to be on this boat. I was like, oh, okay, bet. And I'm like thinking, like, I wasn't even thinking really like boat, because full disclosure, I don't get on boats. Like, I don't do cruises. I can get on a boat, but if I get on a boat, I need to be able to see the land. Because guess what? Your boy can swim very well. And I'm never going on a cruise. I've never been on a cruise, and I'm never going on a cruise. But, if I'm on a lake and I can still see the land, I'm cool. So when she brings this to me, I say yes, and not really even thinking like, okay, I'm going to have to be on this boat. And I didn't even ask where we were going. I was like, okay. And then I found out it's Lake Lanier. And I was a little nervous because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And I was also kind of concerned because obviously when you're a guy and you're going to a function, with a bunch of women, you want to make sure you're not the only guy. So I was like, who else is going to be there? Who's bringing their husband? Who's bringing their boyfriends? Who's bringing their boo things? Some guys that I could talk to. And as it turns out, it was going to be, I don't know, it's probably about 20, maybe 30 people on this boat. It was one of those like triple decker boats, the boats that you get on and ride around and stuff. It wasn't like that, but it was dope. They had a DJ on there, and a lot of food, a lot of drinks and stuff. And it was like a little little liner thing or whatever. And it just sailed around the lake, and it was cool. And it actually found a quote unquote parking space, and it docked. And when it docked, people got off the boat. I didn't get off the boat. People got off the boat, and the DJ played the music, and my wife and her her sorority sisters got in the water and did the wobble. Black folks will wobble anywhere. I told you guys on previous episodes, I don't wobble. But they did the wobble and they got back on the boat. And it was cool. I didn't really have a problem with the ride. Again, I really got on that boat not really knowing much about Lake Lanier. So, that was a win for your boy. That was 2012. So fast forward to 2022? No, 2021. And we are, we're in COVID, and we get, well, at least my wife presents the idea to me that, hey, some of her friends are going on this boat, and it's going to be on Lake Lanier. It's going to be maybe about 20 people or whatever. Do you want to come? Oh, no, we're going. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But then I started doing my research, and I was like, I don't know about this. Because at this point in time, I remember hearing about Usher had, I think his stepson or something like that. He was in the water or something like that and got hit by a boat and passed away. And there were a couple other people that had died like that summer or, the previous summers. And I was just like, I don't know about this. And, we talked about it, but to be honest, I did not let her know about my trepidation about getting on this particular boat. And so she said, well, hey, one of the great things about this is if you want, you can actually drive the boat. Me drive the boat? I really can't see me whipping it around Lake Lanier. And so the way it's set up is that you're actually able to drive the boat. You have to present, obviously, your driver's license. But prior to coming onto the water, you have to take a test. You have to watch this video and you have to sit for this course. And of course, I think it's like 2 days where you just watch these videos and then you got to answer these questions and take a test. And I passed the test. It's simple. But the thing that I realized was like, they don't let people get on the water who don't have a license to drive that particular day. So you literally have to have a boating license for that particular day. If you're renting a boat, and we rented a boat, or they rented a boat. I didn't rent anything. And so now if you got your own boat, you don't need a boating license. But what I realized was, we're in COVID, so we're out there, we outside with no mask on. We're on this boat, and this boat is a smaller boat. It's not a yacht, but it's a smaller boat. But it's big enough to accompany and hold. Like I said, it might have been 20 people, maybe 18 people on this boat. So it's cool. I get to we go to my wife's friend's house, and I knew some of the cats there, and so we're talking, and I noticed like even before we got to Lake Lanier, a couple of cats were drinking. Problem number one. Listen, I am someone, as I mentioned before, I grew up in my house back home where I grew up in Florence, South Carolina. We have a pool, right? And I learned at an early age, two things that don't mix: alcohol and water. They don't mix. They never will mix. When you drink, you really don't need to be in water because drinking slows you down. You're a step off a little bit sometimes, depending on what you're drinking. Your motor skills aren't as sharp and you're not thinking as fast. And so when you couple that with the fact that water is undefeated, drinking and being in water is not something that you should do. Like, nobody takes a bath and drinks. I mean, if you do, you're probably stupid, but that's another story for another day. So anyway, a couple of guys start drinking. Now, I'm not drinking anything because my thing is this: if I have to operate, and it tells you in the video, if you're going to operate this boat, don't drink. And of course, the guys bypassed that. So the guys were just doing the driving. So I was apprehensive. About being out there with COVID, running around. We're still out here in these COVID streets, or in this case, on the COVID seas. And I was also apprehensive about the fact that we're on the water and these cats have been drinking. And not only that, every single day on Lake Lanier, there's thousands of boats, right? And it's like when you're driving the boat, if you're going, or if you're turning to the right, you kind of slow down and you kind of start turning your vessel a little bit toward the right, and people will let you go, or people will slow up, or they'll speed up. And it's almost like it's almost like the same driving principles apply, but you're on the water. But the thing about that is, and that was one of the things that really scared me, was because you can't turn a boat or you can't stop a boat like you can a car. And so if you're drinking, your motor skills are a little slower anyway. That makes it that much tougher when you're on water. And so I'm watching these guys drive the boat, and I'll be honest, I'm trying to have a good time. I'm miserable at one point because I'm like, yo, I can see people in other boats, white folks, black folks, Mexicans, everybody, mostly white folks. All of these, everybody's been drinking. Everybody. I may have been the only person on Lake Lanier that day that didn't have a drink. And it was a good 95-degree day that day. And so, yeah, you could see people drinking, tossing back a couple of beers and just having a good time. That's not what you do, because alcohol and water are a bad mix. And listen, when alcohol battles water, alcohol wins every time. They are undefeated, like the 72 Dolphins. So I'm watching this happen. And then so one of the guys who was driving, he's like, we get to a little area, we park, and then some people jump into the water, some people are swimming, some people are doing flips off the boat, all kind of stuff. So they're actually wading in the water. Me, I wasn't getting off that boat. I didn't want nobody to come and snatch me, man. And so even as I'm watching the people in the water, I'm watching the people who are on our boat in the water, I'm watching the people who are in other boats that are passing by. Everybody's friendly. Everybody's waving. People got music playing. People smoking weed. It's a big ass party for everybody. And there was one person that really wasn't having a good time, and that was me. Because like I was thinking about everything. So after we parked, they said, okay, well, hey, we need to take it back in. Because you only have we rented it for a couple hours. So we only had a certain amount of time or whatever like that. And so I get asked to drive it back in. So I'm happy at this point. I was like, oh, you need me to drive us in? Okay, I got you. So I'm whipping that thing around. I'm swerving. And it's cool. But I'm also very cognizant of the fact that I'm driving around against a bunch of drunk fools. So I have to be very careful about how I navigate. I have to be very deliberate in my turns. I have to be very deliberate in everything that I do, because you don't want boats bumping into each other, because it's not like bumper cars. You know, if any of these vessels hit each other, it's a wrap. You know, and you don't have to be going fast. Now, granted, there are some people who were on Lake Lanier that day that were going way too fast. I mean, you could be going 5 miles an hour, and that's fast enough on water. But listen, I was so happy, and it took me maybe about 20 minutes to get back to where we had initially docked at, and I was so happy. I was so happy to get back on land. I got on land and I kissed the ground, and I was happy. And I thanked the good Lord for sparing my life that day. There aren't a lot of things that frighten me, and there aren't a lot of places that I am afraid to go. Lake Lanier frightens me, and I'm not going back. I'm not even going near Lake Lanier. There's a bridge that you can drive over Lake Lanier. I'm not even driving over that bridge, because I see it like this: like, you only got a couple of chances at Lake Lanier. You keep going there, and the lake is going to win. At some point, it's just in the odds for the lake to win. I'm not trying to let Lake Lanier get no wins on me. I'm just sorry. All in all, I had a good time. We had a good time at the 40th birthday party. We had a good time, just kicking it as friends. I got a chance to meet some cats that I didn't know, and we got a chance to kick it. And it was a really, really good time. I just don't think I had as good a time as I probably could have if it had been anywhere else in the world. And I've been on boats before. Like, we did a cruise around Manhattan when I was in New York. I think the kids, Skylar was, this was like maybe 10 years ago, because Skylar was a baby. That's probably like 11. That's probably like 11 years ago. So I've done, the little thing where you do the tours and stuff like that, where you're not, officially like you're like in a lake or something, or a river, and you're not far from land. But Lake Lanier is different, man. It's different. It is not some place that I would recommend going at all. Because the reality is Lake Lanier is going to win. You can roll the dice if you want to, but Lake Lanier at some point is going to win. And I say that in jest, but the reality is there's a lot of people that die. And why is it that people that die? Partly because that lake is haunted, and the other part is because there's always a mixture of alcohol and carelessness in that lake. And as long as you have that, you're going to have casualties. And that's unfortunate, because I don't think we should flock to a place where people have been known to die. Maybe it's just me. Call me crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me. Thanks again for checking out this edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast. Check out our YouTube channel. 12 Kyle Podcast on YouTube. The great thing about that channel is we have both audio and video, so you can see me if you'd like. Subscribe to that channel. Hit the notification button. That way you can get notifications when, the YouTube episodes come out, because YouTube actually comes out right before the podcast does. If you're on social media, follow me on social media, at 12 Kyle Podcast on Twitter X, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. 12 Kyle Podcast on TikTok. Leave comments. I don't mind comments. On Spotify, you can comment if you're listening. Tell us what you thought about the show. On YouTube, you can leave comments as well. And if you want to support the show financially, we'll take your money. Hit us up on Cash App, $TWELVEKYLE. And also, if you look in the description box, you see a link that says merch. Click that link. You click that link, you can get 12 Kyle Podcast merch. I'm talking posters. I'm talking t-shirts. I'm talking hoodies. I'm talking coffee mugs. You name it, we got it at a low, low price. Again, I am your boy 12 Kyle. Thanks again for checking out this edition of the 12 Kyle Podcast. I'll catch you guys later. 5,000.
If you work in university maintenance, Grainger considers you an MVP because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Grainger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more, and all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, visit Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When you manage procurement for multiple facilities, every order matters. But when it's for a hospital system, they matter even more. Grainger gets it and knows there's no time for managing multiple suppliers and no room for shipping delays. That's why Grainger offers millions of products in fast, dependable delivery, so you can keep your facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.